I would say being LGBT in China is kind of safe, but that's kind of, you know, like
that's as far as it goes. Welcome to Guangzhou Expat. Today we have a very special guest here with us, and she really seems to have all the time in the world because you're an entrepreneur, designer, teacher, fortune teller, club manager, DJ, and a YouTuber. Like, oh my god. So welcome to the studio, Shia. Welcome. Yay! So today we want to talk about Shia's life here in Guangzhou and how she makes the most of her time here being an entrepreneur. We'll also touch down on the topic of being an LGBTQ and part of the community here in Guangzhou City.
When I first moved here, I was actually doing fashion design, and then later on I switched to graphic design, and I started doing brand design and marketing strategies.
You're doing so many things, and you were looking for finding your own thing, your passion. So how did you then become an entrepreneur?
I feel like being an LGBT person, I mean, me especially as a transgender female, life can be very challenging sometimes, not sometimes, all the time. Especially when it comes to fitting in the society and trying to get people to work with you, or most likely you need to apply for a job, right? And that's what I was facing at the beginning when I moved to Guangzhou, because after studying fashion design, I was really looking forward to working in some fashion company, especially when you think about fashion, you would assume people would be so super open-minded, but that did not happen to me.
Nice.
Yeah, so I all the time I would went to their interviews, and they for example, the interview would take 2 hours, and almost half of the time they'll be asking personal questions so are your boobs real,
what, they would ask you that?
Yeah, and
oh my god,
your private parts, and I'm just I'm here for a job.
Oh my god.
So that was very frustrating, and I was really having a lot of mental health issues, depression and stuff. So I guess I would say 6 years in Guangzhou, I've spent at least 3 years dealing with all this kind of stuff, and at one point I was just really sick of it. I was so tired of it, and when I started my fashion brand as well, because nobody would hire me, right? So I was like, okay, then I'm just gonna start my own, That's why I started my first fashion brand, and I launched 2 or 3 fashion shows in Guangzhou and Shenzhen. So first it was successful, but then still I was facing a lot of issues with people. And I remember one time we were having this fashion show, and there was this showroom time, and all the cameras were facing us, and one Chinese guy came to me directly, and he was like, oh, are your boobs real? And then I wasn't even answering, I wasn't even gonna answer, and then right after he popped up that line, he put his hand on top of my shoulder and slid down, and just grabbed my boobs.
God.
And that was.
Did you slap him?
I couldn't even react because all the cameras were facing us, and I was like,
yeah, you're in a public space, you kind of freeze.
I cannot swear bad words. I cannot just it's very frustrating. So at that point, it was kind of just for me, it was I've had enough. I told myself, I've had enough. I still want to do design, but I want to just kind of put myself in, I just want to do some background job. I want to just face my computer and deal with people online, so that I don't have to face to face, answer all those awkward questions. And then one day I was like, oh, why not just try this graphic design thing? So I just kind of just shift within a short time. I just shift my fashion brand, still the same logo. I shifted and turned it into a graphic design brand.
Wow.
And when I first started, I was doing posters and stuff for the clubs I was working at, and then people really liked it, and I started doing more and more and more, and I started taking individual projects and companies, new bars, this and that, and restaurants, and even a few consulates have contacted me, and we have done so many amazing projects. and especially a summer for the LGBT community, like the LGBT film festival. That was just, for me, I was really like happy, you know, because first I'm giving what I have, and also like when I know that what I'm doing is to help the LGBT community, it's just like, to me, that was just like, I feel like I'm so blessed to be able to do that.
When you start talking about, you know, starting up your business and doing all this work, I can see your face, you know, lighting up, you know, and the smile comes out, you know, and can truly kind of feel the passion you have for what you do. I think that's amazing. And you mentioned about the LGBT community. So can you tell about the community? How is it like here in Guangzhou?
Okay, so by the law, being LGBT is totally legal in China. I would say being LGBT in China is kind of safe, but that's kind of, you know, like
that's as far as it goes.
Yes. So you might have to deal with that kind of stuff sometimes. So like these days, whenever we do club events, drag nights, pride events, you know, we always have to be really careful to make the message very hidden on the poster. You know, you can't just directly type like LGBT or like gay night, like, you know, like on the poster, and you cannot have a rainbow and stuff. I created one LGBT group, like it's a WeChat group, like since years ago, and it's still going. It's still going well, and people are coming, and you know, it's a very nice community group for especially the expat LGBT expat here. So but I like, as a group owner, you know, as like I don't even know when I got this title, but people are calling me the mother of Guangzhou. but so as a mother of Guangzhou, like I really just have to be careful with who to invite and who to work with and where to go and what to write on the poster. So that's kind of what we have to deal with. But so far we are doing well. Yeah.
Thanks to you.
No, thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone. I feel so bad for my gay friends because the gay marriage is not legal in China, and looking for a gay partner, a lesbian partner, sometimes can be hard as well, especially knowing that the community sometimes has to be kind of hidden and closed. So that's why I really want to just do good. I want to do so much more, and you know, to host outdoor events and club and this and that. So just hoping that someday in the future, you know, my gay friends, they can all have like not just like they can have a safe environment. I want to make the whole city LGBT friendly. You're
such a loving person, and you're always thinking, you know, what can I do? How can I help? You know, you've been helping with so many, you know, community efforts, with the LGBT community, with some homeless charities, and so many things that you're doing here. So you can, you know, really, and I kind of feel, you know, just the love, you know, spreading from you everywhere. You are a YouTuber as well.
Yes.
What's your channel?
My channel is Shia Major. She's gonna type it like down below. Exactly.
Yes. Go check her channel.
Yes, and don't forget to go there, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, comment down below so that you don't miss every single video that I post. I did document my gender confirmation surgery on my YouTube. So if you are interested in that, you know, you want to see my experience in Thailand, then don't forget to go there and check it out. I started this channel last year. At first, I was just thinking about documenting my life. That's it. Knowing that your words, your videos can help people as well. It's just very like, you know, for me, it's like I feel so blessed that I'm able to do that, because at the beginning I was really just doing like for myself, and then once I realized, you know, like doing YouTube can actually help people, you know, to speak up, you know, like for example, like at least now you guys know that LGBT is not that much of a sensitive topic here in China. I find it just really meaningful, like doing YouTube.
We go into YouTube and we are looking for people we can relate to the stories. They can help us with our own lives as well. We can, oh, you know, she or he is doing these amazing things, you know, maybe I can do that as well.
Yes.
You mentioned about, you know, that maybe, you know, people on the West might have a different views about China and how openly we can talk about these kind of things. And I think a lot of people, maybe myself included, before I moved here, have this idea that China has quite a traditional, family roles, gender roles, and all of that. What do you think about that?
It's kind of true, but sometimes only. I would say, like, especially with the younger generation, I feel like things are just getting more and more open, and people are just more willing to accept like new things, new ideas, from the Western world, and just to genuinely be kind to people. I think that's the most important thing. And I feel like at least 6 years in Guangzhou, for me, 6 years in Guangzhou, I really see the growth, of humanity. And the more friends you met, and it's just, it gives you the hope. If you really want to get to know China, you really just do have to come and see, and then you will realize it's actually a very nice place.
So we have to, come to the street level and meet the people, talk with them, get to know them, then we can better understand each other too.
Yeah, and maybe find a Chinese husband.
Yes, that is one way as well. Then you can definitely, dive deep into the Chinese family life. What would you say to someone, coming new to Guangzhou, perhaps an expat moving from abroad to Guangzhou, and they feeling, they identify being this LGBTQ community, but they're maybe a little bit worried, coming from abroad to here. What would you like to say to them?
It's totally fine to be worried. It's totally fine, even as a regular, normal person, moving to a new country, like, it freaks you out.
Yes, definitely.
Especially China, because you might not know too much about this country, and you are like trying to, do your research online, but then you realize, hey, I did not find out much, and like maybe all you're seeing is just some negative news. So definitely first do your research and prepare what's needed. But I would just say relax. It's really not as bad as what the Western media is saying. Relax. China is very modern these days, especially when it comes to technology, because at Guangzhou and Shenzhen, like, we're very close together, and Shenzhen is it's very well known, by the all those like technology and
exactly.
The phones and stuff. So you're gonna be totally fine. If you're LGBT and you're moving to China, you definitely do not need to worry about like people staring at you. Like, I mean, it happens sometimes, but that's mainly because
me too.
but that's mainly because you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
So a lot of time people stare at you not because you are weird or something. That's just only just because you are a foreigner and they're curious. That's it. Yeah. Especially when you start talking in Chinese, they'll be like, "Oh my God, like, can I take a photo with you?" It happens.
Not that much these days.
Yes, it's getting better. Like I said, it's changing. Yeah, but like I feel like as LGBT, if you're moving to China, this is the last thing that you need to worry about. I would say before moving here, try to find friends who are already living in China, especially your LGBT friends, because they most likely will have a community or a circle of friends who are willing to accept you, or maybe they are just like you. So finding your own people is very important. So you can start doing that, asking about that even before moving to China. That's very important. And once you move here, I don't know much to say, because I feel like these days
it's not an issue.
I don't think it's an issue. It's not an issue. Like, moving here, if you're moving here as a gay person, if you're moving here as a trans person, I don't see any difference. It's just like moving here as a regular person, like, also, like, even though I talked about the difficulties of having a proper job, and it kind of pushed me to start my own business and this and that, but still I feel like in general people are still very okay with it. It's just like they might get like sensitive when it comes to like job, company. So I think what you should worry about is not like being in China and then having people staring at you. What you should worry about is, like, if you're moving to China, if you're studying here, you need to find your circle of friends as soon as possible, because some people might still have something to say if you are too open about who you are. And also, if you are trying to apply for a job here, you definitely need to do the research. You know, what kind of company you're getting yourself into, where are they located, and you know how the city is like. Is it like an open-minded city? So I would say just really need to do some research about the city that you're moving to, because in China is huge. China is huge, and there are very, very open-minded modern cities, and there are some, you know, small towns. So I think that's the first factor. That's the first thing you need to consider, like, you know, doing the research on, and then do the research on the company or the school that you're about to get yourself into. Yes, just to be safe. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Guangzhou is always a great place to come and live, right?
It's very modern. Like the metro system is just.
So thank you so much, Shia, for coming to our channel.
Thank you for having me.
I know. So thank you so much for watching this week's video, and we see you next week then. Okay, bye. For now. Bye.